Okay, welcome to Module 4, Setting the Stage. In this module, we'll be exploring several topics for you to learn more about student preparedness for online learning as well as teacher preparedness for online teaching. So let's kind of dive into this. So for the learning objectives, you're going to uh, learn about planning, designing, incorporating strategies for active learning in the courses. That's on equals standard C. You're going to develop an online course syllabus, including course objectives, course expectations, etc. Assess student learning and readiness, student and teacher readiness, and then understand the multiple roles of an online facilitator, extensions from what you've been previously dealing with, as well as establishing a contingency plan for student and teacher communication. There are 3 assignments within this module. The first is the syllabus, which is a pass, no pass assignment. That's due April 15th. Then you have 2 discussion questions that are tied into one single discussion, 4.2 and 4.3. So basically, it's a student assessment. You'll actually go through an assessment that students can use to assess their own readiness to learn online. And both of those discussions, you have your initial post due April 10th and the responses due April 15th, and I'll show these in just a moment. And then you have an assignment that is the portfolio assignment, the 4 roles of the online coach. And this is one that is actually completed for your portfolio, the LEC portfolio. And this is really designed as a reflection piece to see where you're at and where you want to go. So the first one, designing your online syllabus, pass, no pass. Let me pull this up here. Working your way through it, make sure you click View Site, and that will open up the content for you to read through there. So for the pass, the syllabus, there is on page 2. This basically lays out the technical requirements for what you want in an online syllabus. It's really an extension of your face-to-face class, but it tends to be a bit more explicit. If you look in our course here, the syllabus is broken down, not in a document, but essentially in a page. And this lays out all of the requirements for the course. You're going to essentially do the same thing. So with the syllabus, you're going to read the following activity. So read the article, review an example, and then you're basically going to take a template, which is the online syllabus attachment. It's an RTF file. Let me open that up. And essentially what you're going to do is modify the sections where there's blue text that's used as a placeholder. So go through there and make those modifications. If you don't have, or if you're not working in a situation where you currently have a learning management system, just disregard that right now. Don't worry about that. There's no real reason to fake it. So go through this, placing all of that information, and basically lay out your course objectives, your topic outline and schedule, and all of those things. So you have some flexibility with it. You can make it your own. But you want to make sure that you're incorporating all of those components. If you want to go totally off the reservation and make something totally your own, you're more than welcome to. Just make sure that you incorporate the core elements that are really laid out in this assignment. Learning objectives and all of those things. Alright, cool. So save your file and then or copy and paste it directly into a wiki project for Module 4. So let me find that here. Go to Wiki Projects, start a wiki site, and create a text box on page text, and just copy and paste it directly in there. Unless you have a heavy amount of formatting, and then I'd say attach it as a PDF file. Alright, let's go back to our home page here. Okay, so for setting the stage, so that's the syllabus. My recommendation here is make sure that you review the requirements prior to starting. Use the template as a roadmap, and this is not going into your portfolio, so depending on how much time you have available to yourself during this coming week, make sure that you allocate your time for the portfolio assignment, because that will ultimately end up in your portfolio. So you be the judge, but make sure you get something out of that. So student assessment. You're going to read the materials for this particular exercise, and that is under here. Ensuring student readiness. So read the article and then actually do the self-check. Clicking on this, and you'll go through the questions that are asked of students on determining whether they are ready to or prepared to be online, to learn online. And notice that that opened up in a new window, which is really terrible. Okay. So go ahead and go through that experience, assessing your own preparedness, and then do the self-check. And after you're done with that, one of the questions you'll answer in the Module 4 discussion is, what do you feel to be the two most important factors in determining student readiness to learn online, and why? So then that's 4.2. 4.3, the question will be, what do you feel are the most important factors that contribute to you, the teacher, being ready to teach in an online format? Obviously, some things may be similar, some things may be different. And so as an instructor, you're really going to go through the same thing. Do a faculty self-assessment, your own check, and then respond in the discussion forum. And then the last is our portfolio assignment. So let me jump back over there. So my recommendations for this one are to follow these sequences. Basically, read the materials for this exercise. There's a bit of information. Look at the samples and the portfolios from prior participants, and that, you may want to hold off on that, as that may influence how you approach it. But there's no real reason to reinvent the wheel. So if I pulled up pull up the portfolio really quick. If you look at the 4 roles of the online coach and how other people have approached it, you can see how they have done it. So, so with that, look at the samples and the portfolios from prior participants. Then you're going to download the form. It's an RTF file format. And then follow the steps outlined in the directions. And there are several directions. And you'll submit them to the Dropbox. So looking at this, dive back over here. These are the steps. You're going to download the form, the 4 roles chart. Again, it's a RTF file. You could bring that into a Google Doc if you want. So list the 4 roles of the online teacher, as outlined in the content, from your weakest to the strongest. Where do you, as you work through the 4 different roles, the coach, and I'm drawing a blank on the other ones right now. Poor form. But anyways, work your way through that, the different roles from weakest to strongest, where you're the weakest, all the way to where you're strongest, and then what skills do you need to gain or strengthen? So what areas for improvement do you know? And then basically, what's your plan for gaining those skills? So you're going to fill those out. So once you're done, save the file, and you'll actually submit it under the Hand In button there. This is a Dropbox, so you attach the file, and you can add a note to me if you want to, and then click Hand In. So stepping through that again, you've created your file, you've saved it, click Hand In, attach the file on your computer, and once you've got it, click Hand In or save it as a draft. So once you've done that, you've got it handed in, you're now going to there's a link here to a Google Doc. And then what you're going to do is find the bottom of the page here. You're going to add your initials. You're going to say, as an instructor, what are some of the things that you need to do? I need to make sure I am using academic language, and etc., etc. So whatever I need to do, and what's the goal? How am I going to achieve that goal in the second column? So do that. And that's really just kind of the icing on the cake after you've done the rest of it. And that's it. So once that's done, I'll provide the feedback and evaluation on that, and it should be pretty straightforward, and then you'll be able to put that into your portfolio. So again, the timeline for all of this is everything is effectively due the 15th of April. The only caveat being the initial post for your 4.2, 4.3 discussion is due April 10th, and the final responses to your peers should be in by, April 15th. Questions. This week, I'll be on the road quite a bit. If you would like to Skype at any time, or you want to talk by phone, I would say that probably Tuesday and Wednesday evenings would work best. So if you want to touch base on this, you don't feel confident on anything, let me know. We can Skype or talk by phone or Google Hangout or whatever. And just let me know. I will be. My anniversary is coming up this week, and we are going to be out of town Friday morning through Sunday afternoon. Easter. So I will do my best to respond, but ultimately I'm going to make sure that I obviously give my wife as much attention as possible. So bear with me if my responses are a bit delayed on some of these things. Or if you can, obviously make sure you get your questions clarified beforehand, or be sure to use the general discussion forum, as some of your peers may be able to answer your questions before I get to them. And that's pretty much it. It's pretty straightforward. It's really a reflective module more than anything, which I think is good. A little bit of learning, a little bit of reflection, and ultimately that makes us a better and more prepared instructor to teach or facilitate online. Again, have questions, feel free to hit me up, and have yourself a fantastic week.